Okay, let me just welcome every audience to join us. So everyone, good morning and good evening, and welcome to join MSQ webinar. My name is Echo Hindoyang. I'm the CEO and the founder of MSQ Ventures. So today I'm very honored to have Dr. Wang, the chairman, founder, and the CEO of Harbour BioMed. So thank you for joining us, Dr. Wang.
Thank you, Echo. It's my pleasure.
And also, coming with me is our venture partner in Beijing, Dr. Shang. Good morning.
Hi, everyone.
Good morning,
Good morning, Echo and Dr. Wang. And hi, everyone. This is Sean, venture partner in MSQ, based in Beijing, helping the MSQ's China business.
Thank you so much. And so everyone, I think, probably read a lot of news about Harbour BioMed recently, especially at the least difficult time. Huge congratulations to Dr. Wang and your team.
Well, thank you.
It's not easy in the current situation.
Yes, indeed. It's a very special period of time.
Yeah, and so that's very encouraging us, and also that's why I really want to have you to be on webinar to spread out such a positive energy with everyone. And so recently, you and your team have been achieved several success. Actually, each month it seems a big success for your team. And the first one, you successfully closed the fundraising $75 million. At this time, most of the investors take up the wallet, but you still successfully closed it. That's a huge success. Congratulations.
Thank you again.
And also, you and your team actually fight very hard how to treat this coronavirus, which is impact everyone's life globally and hurt our economic and our normal life so badly. So definitely congratulations on your partnership with the biggest hospital system in US, Montana Hospital System, and also you are successful complete the phase 1 clinical trial of your assets. So I'm very honored to have you today share your secret sauce with everyone, and also how did you handle such a difficult time to make such a big moment?
It's a lot of pleasure to be able to share our experience. As mentioned, it's a very challenging period of time. During this period, a lot of efforts and resources put in to combat this pandemic. So we'll be fortunate to achieve some of the milestones you mentioned, but there's no secret sauce. I think there's really that from the society, from the industry, everybody has contributed, and we're glad to be part of this.
You are very humble. So let me just try to dig out deeply and what we can learn from you and your team. So actually you successfully closed the fundraising. Do you mind to share more a background and what's your experience? Because so far you and your team already closed over $200 million in the only 4 years.
Yes, indeed. Since the establishment of Harbour BioMed in 2016, we have raised more than $200 million. Some are in the early days of industry resources shifting to the innovative drug discovery development, but also some come at a very challenging period of time, such as in the last several months. Every time, I think we're looking at not just how to meet the individual or particular requirement of the individual investment firm, but looking at what are a competitive biotech company should be to have the fundamentals in place in good or bad time. And through working with the leading investors, not just in China, in the Asia region, but also global brands, really to differentiate ourselves, to be able to be competitive in any situation. I think the core value for us is that how we bring value to not just the investors and together bring value to the marketplace and to add value to the patients around the world. I think that's That is a core principle for not just for us. I think when you look around the outstanding companies out there, so that's the main focus.
Mm-hmm. You just mentioned about this every time, so about the global, and you mentioned about you have the global investors and also global team. So I think at least like a difficult time, actually, we find out the global cooperation is definitely the key. Can you elaborate more, like your global operation, especially? I understand that you have a team in Europe and you have the team in US and the team in China. So how do the team work together and what are they functioning? And especially at this time, what do you see the advantage of that?
So our establishment of the company was based on the partnership, collaboration, acquisition of international global entities. And so we start with the company start with acquisition of a Dutch company based in Rotterdam. And so that's where we firm our base in Rotterdam, the Netherlands. That's our European Innovation Center. And we also expand and enhance our operation in the US, mainly focusing on Boston area, Kendall Square in Boston. So through these, we have a core resources, technology, and networks of operation. That's from the global stand. In 2016, we also expand our operation to China. So to extend our, in terms of capability, resource and space, to continue drive the ever expanding our internal discovery and development portfolio. So in terms of how these sites work together, is by nature, it's very clear for our Dutch team focusing on technology, the technology expansion, optimization, and advancements. For our Boston US team, mainly focusing on how to be part of the ecosystem of innovation in Boston area, in the US and North America. So we're working closely with the top-notch academic centers, with leading the biotech companies in the region on Eastwood Coast and West Coast to capture the best innovation and to funnel into our innovative discovery and development portfolio. As I mentioned, in China, we mainly leverage the support locally, the talent pool, and also some of the investment resources that we have to continue expand and drive the portfolio forward. Mm. Really is the integrated and the global network.
Mm. Yeah. And I think, as you mentioned, you create value. And like Echo said, you have different teams in different regions. I think when I look at your company as an investor, I think you have very strong power on the implement. It's like the big power executing abilities. And this point is very important when we look at to invest a project. Like you said, value and the execution ability is very important. And also, we would like to look at the pipelines. But I definitely think you will mention some about your product and pipelines in the next half hour.
Yes, I think execution is crucial. We can have the best strategy in the world, but if we cannot deliver, it will not be recognized and will not be able to competitive. So that's the focus of the management team. Ever since the establishment, we have been executing from all fronts, from discovery to clinical development to our innovative business model.
Mm. Yeah, just like to do some clinical development or clinical trials is very important. Sometimes when we look at the companies, they say, oh, we can do clinical trials in this year and next year. But when we look at after 1 or 2 years, they're just in the same stage. So we would very like the teams, and they have a really very big power on the executions, just like you. Just 4 years, you build a company to a big company now.
Well, we're fortunate to have outstanding group of clinical development team. Of course, we have a very large discovery team as well. We also thank the environment in terms of carry out innovative drug discovery development around the globe in China and the Asia Pacific region. So we're fully leveraging those opportunities to push our programs forward. Indeed, in the last 3 years, we have been complete numerous phase 1 studies and phase 2 studies for our programs. And we initiated clinical trials around the globe in Australia, and have IND approvals in the US, and also looking at our next step in terms of EMA, EU, European Union.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So actually, you just mentioned because of the global team, so actually you work with all the top global academic and also the pharmaceutical companies. I found out Harbour has very dynamic partnership model, such as license, co-offering, and the platform price, and also co-discovery. So actually, because of that, probably you work all, like you said, with all the top players in the different organization and pharma companies, and you have like more than 40 partners around the world. So what's the strategy behind this model, and what's your vision for it? Because it's kind of like very complicated, sometimes can be out of control, right?
Well, it's very simple. I think to have a partnership, it is necessary to company growth as part of the global company. But also is what we have on hand. We have an industry-leading core technology platform, especially in the fully human monoclonal antibody field. So with that, we would like to share with other partners to elevate the overall antibody discovery and development capability and capacity. So that's the basic principle. Now, when you're looking at the different way of collaborating with our partners, this mainly for the BD term, but from simply put, is a two way to do this. One is simply using the technology shared with others, let our partner to use it. So that's what you see, that the technology license or IP license deal. It's mainly initiated by our Dutch company, Harbour Antibodies. It's more of a legacy business model. In this way, we have been able to share the technology to multinational companies and top 10 pharma companies around the world, and to biotech companies, many in Cambridge and Bay Area, to let them use the cutting edge technology to develop a novel discovery and development portfolio. And in this way, we are being able to have a broad coverage, that you mentioned, more than 40 partners around the world. That's the area. But since 2016, Harbour BioMed established, we have transformed the technology platform Harbour Antibodies in Dutch to a global biotech company generating our own portfolio. So in this way, the company's major focus is to generate portfolio either exclusively through our own effort or working our partners. So it's really with our partner, that's the co-discovery model. So in this way, we leverage not just the technology we have, but also the powerful technology team we have in-house to combine this to working with partners with complementary resources, such as dating novel targets, unique strengths in certain particular disease biology. So that's what we have the co-discovery effort. That's the main efforts at the current time.
So I think look at the business model and the partners you built in the past few years. It seems your company had very big heart and build such a trust with the different partners easily. I think the company's personality is always more like the founder's personality, right?
And I wish I have that impact for everyone, but I think this really depends on what the gene or the DNA of the company. As I mentioned, it is a start from the get-go is a global company, and also the partnership collaboration is our DNA, is our gene, and we're being to build upon what we have from the smaller number to a larger number, to a smaller deal, to a major impact transaction, to based on pure technology, to based on the discovery development programs, focusing on the patient, focusing on the market. So I think it's very clear based on what we have and also what the patient needs.
That's great. And so I'm also very impressed by you, your team complete the phase 1 clinical trial. Actually, when China was in the very, had the outbreak of the coronavirus in January and February, and all the clinical trial probably put on hold, but you still went through all the difficulties and complete the phase 1. So could you please share more experience or the license maybe the Western companies can learn from you?
We have been fortunate to be able to complete some of the clinical studies, such as we have completed a phase 2 study in our dry eye program earlier in the year, last year. We're also being able to close a phase 1 study in 9161 as anti-FcRn monoclonal antibody program. Yes, indeed, it's very challenging, but also this is a continuation of what we have been working with investors in mainland China and also in Hong Kong. Yes, indeed, as you mentioned, the clinical studies or other efforts, activities in China have been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, and we are no exception. Just fortunate that we, some of the major on-site activities, recruiting patients, visiting sites, has been completed just before the COVID-19 outbreak. And then we use the subsequently time to assessing the data, analyze data to being able to close out the study. But we do have other studies being impacted. There's no exception, and just like other companies, we're find a way to mitigate the risk and to try to resume those clinical trial activities, not just in China, I think in other parts of the world.
So do you have any suggestion for the Western company? Because recently I talked to a lot of the CEO executives of the biotech company in Europe and in US. Actually, we find it very challenging for continue the clinical trial or even like start a new clinical trial for the rest of the year, even we're talking about. So it's kind of like a huge impact on this, because as a biotech company, you only can raise money when you receive more the clinical trial data, right?
Well, yes, indeed. And I would like to share my experience to my fellow colleagues. Yes, indeed, when you're looking at the pandemics, there's significant impact on the activities. However, this this is transient, can get better, can recover. And this is what examples we experienced in China. When you're looking at in January and February, and we don't expect when will be the turning point will be. But now in end of March, now we are in the beginning of April, we see a significant portion of activity has start either close to normal or start to recovering. So it is a transit, and we need to be prepared and also need to get ready for the next wave. But in the different region has different phase of this evolution of the pandemic impact. So in China, there start to have a recurring activities. Some of the business, such as preclinical laboratory work, it has a close to normal pace. So for biotech companies, executives are seeking for opportunity to continue their business, to work with China-based either CRO or biotech would be an option. However, the clinical trial activity will take a little bit of time to resume informal, especially for the newly initiated trial, will take a little bit longer. Our current effort, it is to resume to continue what the already being started before during the pandemic. So there's opportunity out there, but have to pace it, looking at what the real opportunity are.
Yeah, so that's a very good license to share, and hopefully, I think that the global work together, even we talked about and discussed about before, and that's a possible can start a new clinical trial in China for the rest of the year, so can really mitigate the risk.
Yeah, I have a question is, in terms of the clinical trials, what do you think is the most important thing? It's like in the impact on this situation, is it very difficult to recruit a patient, or is it very difficult to ask the doctors to collect their date, or is it very difficult for the CRO companies, or any other reasons? And do you have any solutions?
There are multiple factors. First of all, the China FDA and MPA has been super active during the pandemic, either in response to the request to initiate studies combat the virus infection, from both vaccine and to therapeutic solutions. And also the other factors limiting the proceeds of the clinical trial activities are because of the travel restrictions. The patient cannot go to visit hospital. The clinical CROs or sponsor team cannot visit the sites in the hospital. In the hospital, majority of the resources are shifted to come back directly for the virus related activities. So clinical trials, not at least considering a critical activity at a certain period of time. Now as it starts to recovering. So multiple factors to limiting those. And such the other logistic in terms of shifting the medication, trial material, and many other things, such as even the ethical committee, they have to shift their face-to-face meeting to online meeting. So those are the many factors in this to limit those. So at this point, I think the general infrastructure is still intact, it just take a little bit of time to recover. So I see that the existing trials are gradually back to the recovering track, and we'll see more of those in the coming weeks and months.
Yeah. But this tough time, I know you have recent success of about one of your product. You finished the phase 1 study, and the collaboration is with the Mount Sinai Hospital.
Yes, so the clinical trial, as I mentioned, the actual trial itself was occurred by and large before the COVID-19 outbreak. And we just to continue the effort that once we complete the on-site work. And so we're fortunate. But we do have other trials being delayed or shifted because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So a lot of other companies, I think, no exception, in the same situation.
That's great.
Okay, I think so. For the next 20 minutes, we will have you to present Harbour BioMed, and especially talk about your strategy and the technology. Thank you so much.
All right, great. I'm going to share slides that just walk you through who we are, what we do, and see anything that we do here have any relevance to what you are facing into the situation, and potentially find opportunity to work together. At the end of this, also using a few slides to share with you what the situation here in China, what's the impact as we discussed in terms of our business activities in China, and how we as a biotech company to cope with this. And I would certainly at the end to open for a discussion with you. So I'm going to share the slides if I can. Let's see. Sorry for the delay. Can you see the slide?
Yes.
All right,
problem.
great.
It's great.
All right, I'm going to walk you through what we do at the Harbour BioMed and what we are doing in the combat of COVID-19. So first of all, the general overview, as I mentioned to you earlier, that we are a biotech company established in 2016. They set up the companies based on acquisition of a Dutch company called Harbour Antibody based in Rotterdam. Through the close to 4 years of operation, we have, using the technology we have internalized based on the transgenic mice, Harbour mice, to build a industry-leading technology and portfolio. We have more than 30 discovery programs. These are based on the technology we have. the most leading compound or program now is already in global trial. And the trials is happening in Australia. That's another, the break we have when you're looking around the globe. The few country or region was a relatively well controlled area, and Australia is one of them. So afford us to proceed with the clinical trials throughout these pandemic. So that's very fortunate for us. We also built a next generation of bispecific antibodies based on our technology, heavy chain antibody called HBICE. I can go through a little bit detail later on. So it is a portfolio based on our technology, both monoclonal and bispecific antibodies, focusing on immunological based disease, immunology, and immuno-oncology. And also that at the beginning of the company establishment, we acquire a best-in-class and first-in-class mid-clinical stage assets to facilitate, accelerate the maturation of our internal portfolio, and also to addressing the unmet medical needs in China. So that's our portfolio, both ends from discovery and also from development. And also in this last 3 years, I've mentioned earlier, they established a global innovation network anchored in technology in Netherlands and also in Boston for our innovation. We also operation in China. So with this global network, we'll be able to leverage each site, each region's strengths, and to facilitate and increase the efficiency of our operation. We have been fortunate to be supported by blue chip investors from the beginning. The company, Dutch company, was invested by Atlas Venture. Many of you are familiar, based in Cambridge. We also have other leading investors such as Biotech, Dutch Capital, CDH, and our B round lead investor at GIC, and also Temasek affiliated investor Vertex as a part of these syndicator. So we also have in our recent close the $75 million B+ round, we have regional powerhouse SK to be our strategic partner and investor, and some of the other very powerful investors in the region. So with this, we are setting out to becoming a global leading biotech company focusing on immunological disease. Try to advance the slides if I can. Okay. So as a company, it's important to looking at how we build our portfolio. That's the bread and butter. That's how we generate value to enhance our presence. So in 3 directions, we're looking at how to build our company. First of all, we leverage our industry-leading technology platform to build a differentiated, innovative portfolio. Through the platform in monoclonal antibodies, working with industry and academic center to capture the true first-in-class and best-in-class targets. And also using the unique platform such as heavy chain only based immune cell engager HBICE, and this is a highly differentiated portfolio as well. As I mentioned, we also have close to market assets addressing high unmet medical needs. And so this is the leading clinical programs that we have. So through both directions, we serve unmet medical needs and to have a larger number of highly differentiated programs from our own discovery team. In addition, we expand in both directions, one in depth, the other is the bandwidth. So in depth, not just we are a transgenic mouse technology platform company to start with. Now we've built our strengths extend from the transgenic mice to a highly differentiated antibody technology platform company. So we are from both the monoclonal to bispecific to this specific heavy chain only based HBICE. Furthermore, we have enhanced our strengths incorporating industry-leading single cell technology to really becoming a powerhouse leading the pack for both the drug antibody discovery to antibody screening. So that ensures us to have a deep knowledge in the area, to being an expert and in the field, to be able to drive continued growth and continued evolution of our discovery portfolio. Furthermore, we expand our horizon to working broadly with global partners to not just have our core technology based portfolio, but also expand into our area, into the area of expertise, area of disease, area of biology, working with academic and industry partners listed here. So through this, we have the depths, we have the bandwidth, and also have the area that we're focusing on to build a differentiated, highly innovative portfolio and a company. We also have a strong team to be able to drive these from all fronts. We have teams both from discovery, technology, business, early commercial, and also in terms of the interaction with our ecosystem in the US. And we also have a very strong clinical development team, as I mentioned. Xiaoxiang has been instrumental in building our clinical development and regulatory capability. And he was the first generation or first wave of physician in China, joined a multinational company 20 years ago in joining the clinical trials effort. So there's really a powerful team and to be able to drive the strategy we set out to do to realize the vision to be a global powerhouse. As for myself, as mentioned here, I'm a physician rheumatologist in training. I also did my immunology fellowship at Harbour School of Public Health and work at pharma company in YS, now part of Pfizer, Bristol Myers Squibb. That's when BMS will start their IO effort. I was the first wave of physicians working on the immuno-oncology programs from EP to others. And later on in 2011, I moved to China full-time to serve as a head of the China IND and head of translation medicine group for Sanofi. So with this, we also have a very broad and very strong other technical experts from toxicology to biology, protein engineering. And recently we have the head of regulatory affairs in Novartis China, Ms. Zhu Jun, joined us as head of regulatory affairs. So we are continue to expand, continue to drive with the expertise, with the talent we have on hand. In addition, we do have a industry leading advisory board. So they are industry veteran, iconic figures to drive and help us in terms of strategic directions and collaborative networks, and also driving individual program projects. So Frank Grosswell is the inventor of the Harbour mice. He's an industry, is international leading expert in gene track regulation. Bob Kamen is an iconic figure, as I mentioned. He's the inventor of the most successful antibody drug, Humira, in the world. He was a former head of global research for Abbott, and currently is work at Third Rock. Ken Murphy is the international renowned immunologist, and it was the well-known in the field. Rob Kramer is my former colleague at the Bristol Myers Squibb. He's instrumental in push BMS driving into from a pure immunology and oncology company to immuno-oncology company. That's we'll see the whole field shift in terms of immuno-oncology. Peter Moister is the industry leading expert in CMC and was former head of CMC at the BMS and Abbott. 4 out of top 20 antibody drug on the market, and he was the instrumental to developing the process, driving the CMC effort. So it is, we have really a strong advisor to help us on a regular basis. In terms of portfolio, and before with the portfolio, we'll talk about the platforms. So this is a platform that, as mentioned, is industry leading technology. So it is a transgenic mice. It's a very simple principle. Switch the mouse antibody generating gene to human. On the left side, we call it H2L2, generating fully human IgG. 99% of antibody drug on the market looks like that. And also on the right side, this is the heavy chain only, we call it HCAb. So this is the one that's the only few companies out there with the technology, more importantly with the IP to be able to operate. So it has a smaller size, better tissue penetration, and can generate potentially differentiated epitope IP. But more importantly for us, we are currently focusing on to use it to serve as a backbone to build a bispecific antibody portfolio. So we're going to discuss that a little bit more later on. In addition, this heavy chain only antibody can serve as the key elements to build other technology such as CAR T or next generation CAR T, especially if people are looking at the bispecific CAR T. So this is the ideal component to do that. We have been in contact with several potential partners in this area. So this type of technology, especially on the left side, is being industry for a little bit of time, but has been fast evolving, but has been well validated and recognized by the industry. As shown by this slide, the deals based on this type of technology. So we're being fortunate to, in 2016, to complete the transaction, acquire the Dutch company. So when you're looking at the deals on both left and right side of Harbour, and on the left side is 2015 is the OMT technology license or sold. It's H2L2 type of technology, which generating a regular size antibody to ligand for $178 million US. On the right side, my former employer, Sanofi, acquired a Belgium company, Optics, as well known in the field. This is the company generating the nanobody. This is the term they coined based on their technology, which is based on llama, which is producing naturally occurring heavy chain only antibody. So they call it a nanobody. So what we have is both the ligand transaction and also the Sanofi transaction. As I mentioned, both the H2L2 and also the heavy chain antibody. But our heavy chain antibody is fully human. It's the next generation of nanobody. So combine this, we are the only few company in the world have this technology, have all the tools developed both monoclonal and bispecific antibodies. As I mentioned, we use the heavy chain antibody, mainly focusing on bispecifics. There are multiple technology advantages to using this. I will not go into the detail, but if you're familiar with this field, you know, bispecific antibody is a very exciting concept, but has been very challenging to put realization, put on the marketplace. Many are due to the CMC protein engineering challenges, such as one typical, we call it light chain mispairing. So using our platform, using our format, because we do not have light chain, and so there is no light chain mispairing challenges, among many others. Smaller, so easier for manufacturing, smaller size, and so on and so forth. So this provides us an ideal tool for us to launch a series of high specific antibodies, but especially in HBICE immune cell engager. So this is the format that you cannot achieve through combinations. You cannot achieve using other common seen bispecific format. So especially the regular IgG-based format. So we're being fortunate and have this tool, and we have been using significant resources and to drive these portfolios forward. At this point, Harbour technology has been well recognized and highly validated. There are at least 6 programs using the technology has been in clinical stages, are in clinical stages. Our partners around the globe with multinational companies and to highly innovative biotech companies, many in Kendall Square area in Cambridge and also in Bay Area. One example I will list here is Celsius, is funded by Vijay Kuchel and Jeffrey Bluestone in Harvard and Stanford. There's an industry world-leading immunologist. So they based on our technology to build their portfolio. Other partners are around the globe, both in the US and Europe. As I mentioned, in addition to the licensing deal we did in the past, the main focus now for the company is a focus on co-discovery, not just the technology, but also our industry-leading antibody discovery screening technology and in our innovation capability. So the partner has been in both the academic centers and also some of the highly active, innovative biotech companies around the world. I'll mention the switch to our product portfolio. So the technology is a tool for us to build a portfolio. So because of this, we're being able to build a differentiate, innovative ones. As I mentioned, how we build, yes, there's a first-in-class, near-market mature clinical programs that's in our portfolio, and mainly in the immunology field. The main focus now is the novel molecule entity using our core proprietary technology, both regular size antibody and also heavy chain antibody for bispecifics, and we're focusing on immune cell engager. As I mentioned, not just our internal effort, we're working with partners around the world to access additional area that is not in our core strategic focus, but we're leveraging this resource to expand our horizon to make sure that we can generate value through our collaboration, our technology. So this is the snapshot of our current portfolio, and I'll walk you through it. First of all, we're focusing on immune-based disease in two major categories. One, immunology, the other is immuno-oncology. For our immunology portfolio, we featured on several near market mid and late stage clinical stage assets. These are the ones working with our partner, Hanau, and they have driving these programs in US and other regions. Now we're responsible and focusing on China market development. I'll go a little bit detail later on in terms of what these programs are. In addition, we're also focusing on the immuno-oncology, the oncology portfolio, mainly depending on our own technology in immune cell engager bispecific antibodies. And they are in different stages of clinical development. The leading program, we call it 4003. It's in phase 1 trial. This is the industry first heavy chain only fully human antibody in clinical trial. This is the next generation CTLA-4. Exciting target, but because of the property and the protein engineering work we've done, we have a much better in terms of potential efficacy and safety profile compared to the first generation ipilimumab and like on the marketplace. I'll go into a little bit detail later on. So this is, we put our significant resources to drive these programs forward. In the next few minutes, I'll just give you highlights in terms of some of the key programs we're working on. The leading program we're currently is in phase 3 development. That's the dry eye program. Many of you are familiar. This is a really highly exciting area for drug development. Because of the lifestyle changes, people stick on the screens, cell phones, iPad, and many other behavior changes led to the increased prevalence of dry eye. There's no good therapeutic solutions for it, and there's no treatment for China. So we are the leading program in China for this debilitating, very significant disease. In China, there's a significant growth potential. As I mentioned, there's no mechanism-based disease modifier in China other than artificial tears for this condition. So we're really at the leading pack, especially for the new mechanism action-based therapeutics. So, so we see a great potential for this program. The other is we focusing a program called the 9161. This is a program based on the target called FcRn. And this is another very exciting target and has been listed consistently the top 10 exciting targets in the last several years. It changed the half-life of immunoglobulin in the system, in the body. And in theory, then all pathogenic antibody-generated autoimmune disease can be treated with this solution, therapeutic solution. I'll give you a couple of the examples. This is the first wave of disease we are focusing on, myasthenia gravis and the debilitating disease, and not much a good solution out there. So we are the one into this field. The other is Graves' ophthalmopathy, and this is another really highly demand, and one drug approved in US last year was listed as a breakthrough therapy. So in China, there's no such similar programs, and we are the only player in this field. Neuromyelitis optica, and that's another spectrum of debilitating disease with a really high unmet medical needs. And we're working with scientists and physicians in China to drive this program forward. Another, you may have heard this, but it's fairly common, and the no safe and efficacious and chronic use medicine out there. So this is the ITP, thrombocytopenic purpura. So this is another area we're focusing on. So the common theme is autoimmune disease. They all mediate through pathogenic autoantibodies. So through depleting these antibodies in a very safe way, efficient way, we're being able to treat these type of a class of disease. So we use this, we hope and we plan to build a pipeline in a product to treat multiple debilitating autoimmune disease. So they will see more of these clinical programs in the next few weeks, few months. In addition to these clinical stage assets, we're also focusing on driving our internal for discovery development portfolio based on our own technology. So the program 4003 is the first of many to be in the clinic for trial. Currently, this 4003 is in Australia for phase 1 trial. And this is the heavy chain only next generation anti-CTLA4. We did both multiple changes, including with using the heavy chain only with different PK profile compared to the regular size antibody. Second, we had a protein engineering to enhance the ADCC for this molecule. As you know that CTLA4 has been in the spotlight, but many are known for significant toxicity. However, in the recent years, it has been becoming clear that manipulating or managing this target drive the clinical efficacy also depends on heavily of its ability to depleting Treg. So we're being able to show through our effort to have a significant stronger Treg depletion activity compared to the first generation of CTLA4, such as ipilimumab. So with this advancement of being able to, in preclinical setting, that we will be able to use 1/6 the dose compared to ipi to achieve comparable efficacy animal model. Under such dosing ratio, and the ratio, the exposure we needed, we only need 1/70 that of ipilimumab. So that gives us a significant space, a window to drive more optimal efficacy and toxicity ratio. And we are, as mentioned, this is target the industry has been in hot pursuit to find the next wave or next generation CTLA4. In all these competitive landscape, we are the only one in both the format changes and also the ADCC enhancement. We created our own path forward and is highly differentiated. Well, we're really excited about this program, and the preliminary clinical data in Australia has validated what many of the hypotheses we seen in preclinical setting in terms of efficacy, mechanism action. We see potent, very strong Treg depletion in patient, and also see the safety profile as well. So we'll continue to expand these clinical trials. We'll report those data with you in due time. In addition to this leading discovery program in clinic now, as I mentioned, we're focusing on the next wave or next generation of discovery portfolio, mainly focusing on HBICE, immune cell engager. We're working through partners around the world on this effort. And just brief introduction, as I mentioned earlier, these heavy chain based HBICE has a unique property in terms of the biologic function, clinical efficacy, differentiated market positioning. And can be competed with not just the combination therapy, but also the conventional, many of the bispecific antibody format. Not just these transgenic mice of the antibodies, but also have been in the last several years to build an industry-leading antibody drug discovery engine. Not just the HCAb bispecific I mentioned, we also incorporate single-cell technology through acquisition of acquire the Beacon system, and to be able to highly enhance our capability to not just in antibody discovery, but also screening. Through Beacon system, we have been able to shorten the antibody screening from several months using the common and hybridoma technology to becoming a 1 day. So it's a significant enhance of our efficiency. And also using the technology, be able to identify or tackle, focusing on some of the hard to difficult antigens, such as GPCR, ion channel. Furthermore, we have been working with partners in academic centers and industry to build artificial intelligence and machine learning mechanism to looking at the next wave of targets beyond the current targets pool we're working on. So really that we build a forward-looking biotech company, not just the current technology, current portfolio, but into next wave and next generation of biologics to serve patients' needs. So this is the summary of what we do in terms of differentiated portfolio and using next generation technology to drive this portfolio growth, and with the innovative business model to really broaden our coverage, not just in the core area, but also other areas based on our opportunity. So the collaboration with COVID-19 effort is in that concept that we provide the core technology to work with industry leading experts or top scientists around the world to tackle this disease. So this the effort, this is the model, and can be replicated, duplicate, amplified in multiple directions where we cover other therapeutic areas because of the core technology. So this is really a way that to expand and enhance our value creation through the technology partnership. As I mentioned, we'll go beyond the core transgenic mice platform to antibody, to protein engineering, to antibody screening, and drug discovery engine. So through this, not just for position ourselves for current growth, but also the future growth as well. So I will stop here in terms of sharing what we do, what we are, who we are. I'll use a little bit time to just quickly go through in terms of what we deal with in terms of the COVID-19. So you saw those images in terms of the lockdown during the COVID-19 outbreak and the effort to combat the COVID-19, but also see the significant shift of the healthcare resources to certain areas highly affected by the COVID-19. But also we see the recovery phase. I think this, you're glad to see that the lockdown has been opened up, and the effort in terms of not just the society, general life, but also the industry activity has been start to recovering. But I have to say that during this period, the clinical trial and also the biopharma business has been significant impact. That's what we've shown, that a lot of activities in clinical trial happening in China, not just has a local impact, but also with global ramification as well, because a significant portion of the trial are multinational trial, global trials. And also many of the multinational companies have significant numbers of trials happen in China. So this impact is not regional, but it's also local. We see that these activities start to recover, and in another few weeks, you'll see the numbers a lot different compared to what we've seen. This is we have this data in March. So for us, we're focusing on driving the business, also protect our employee. We have an emergency management group since day one. I'm the lead We have a daily operation meeting to looking at where our things are in terms of how to protect employee at home during travel. At the workplace, when allowed to return to work, we have multiple ways to sanitize the workplace and have multiple measures to make sure that the employees are safe, both on the road, commuting, and also at the workplace. We also, as the biotech company, as a humanity effort to support effort to combat COVID-19 at the beginning of the outbreak. Despite the startup company, we donated 1 million RMB to support to build this makeshift hospital. This hospital was built with 1,000 beds in 10 days. So we are part of the effort to do this. In addition, one current time and in China is fairly stabilized now, we start to support our partner around the globe. We have donated PPEs to our partners in Dana-Farber, Brigham Women, and University of Pennsylvania Medical Center, Penn Medicine. Of course, our home base, Erasmus Medical Center. And this is our effort, not just taking care of ourselves, but also our partners, especially the frontline healthcare providers. They are the ones to treat and protect patients. So this is really a collective effort, and we're glad to be part of this effort, do our parts to combat COVID-19. As I mentioned, we do that from the beginning to working with multiple partners, both in China and also in Europe, in the US, to leverage our technology and also our partners' expertise to combat this. Some of the effort has achieved mid-stage milestones, and we should be able to release some of the data in the near future. As I mentioned, we continue to drive our own internal business, and in particular, because of the effort in Australia, we're being able to drive these clinical trials forward without being significant impact. We see in the last week or so, the clinical trial in China, we have started active activities from ethical committee to study site initiation. So hopefully in the next few weeks, a few months, we see a lot more recurring, a lot more activities, not just in our research laboratory, but also in the clinical trial effort. So I'll stop here, and thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wang, for this wonderful presentation. I think it's not because your company is so amazing, but the whole presentation, I think everyone can feel your emotion and your warm heart to the world. Thank you again. Thank you. And
thank you.
Next, we will take questions. I already received several questions. So the first question, actually, I think is you have the very advanced platform technology, and so can help the companies actually already work with all the top pharmaceutical companies, help them develop the next wave of antibody. But you also have the phase 3, the assets in the pipeline. So are you going to be the pharmaceutical company and will be the full service and include the R&D and the heavy focus, but also focus on commercialization work in-house?
So our vision is to becoming an integrated biopharma company. Currently, due to the stage of our portfolio, we're focusing on R&D, but we will, with the progression of these milestones of the clinical program in particular, we are in plan in terms of the CMC, in terms of manufacturing, and the commercial capability. So at this point in China market, we are plan to have commercial presence, but does not exclude have partners in this space. But in global, we are looking for co-development partners of our global programs, and for future commercial collaboration as well. So in short, we are intent to becoming a fully integrated biopharma company.
Mm-hmm. That's great. So for your the dry eye the sector, so what's your strategy? Are you going to include more the assets in this area? Because you just mentioned demonstrated that's a huge market, especially after even I think current situation is more demand than before ever, because everyone just stay home and work from home, stay at the screen, right?
Yes, I think you are really right on the point that this is really the gradual evolution of the human behavior. But the COVID-19 made it worse, especially in a very short period of time. And everybody stay home, working from home. And I'm staying the screen of the Zoom meetings for the last 2 or 3 months. I think everybody is the same. But I think even with the COVID-19's recovering or in a different phase, our behavior will not change. So the demand to treat the significant unmet medical needs of dry eye will be there. So we continue to looking at opportunities how to not just these current programs to push the marketplace to serve the medical needs, and also looking at leveraging these assets to build a mini portfolio in ophthalmology. As a matter of fact, when you're looking at the programs that we have, especially for the 9161, the FCRN program, we do have other ophthalmology products, such as treat of neuromyelitis optica, and the other is Graves' ophthalmopathy. So we are building a mini portfolio in ophthalmology. We are looking for potential opportunity working with others to expand or in-depth focusing on this area.
Yes, I also think the dry eye products have a big market, and like you said, in China, very few companies can do this. And I think even around the world, to have the product in this area, like the Japanese Santan, like the other companies that will have big market, and also actually we have a client. They also developing the products in the similar area, and we can talk it later, and maybe I think you can have more pipelines in this area, because it's really you already already in the clinical 2 and 3 stages, and I think it will maximize your value.
Yeah, yes, dry eye indeed is an exciting area, but also is a very challenging field to developing drugs because of the complexity of the disease, the nature of the outcome of the trials. Only a few companies has the experience, expertise to do this. In the last 3 years or so, we have accumulated a large number of database, and we also have experience run clinical trials. So we're the only company in China being able to use the kind of modern technology or methodology carry out clinical trials in China, which is recognized by the NMPA and the CDE in China. So we're confident through working also the leading expert in China to be able to bring this product to the marketplace.
Yeah, you just mentioned about definitely this is the dry eye, the clinical trial is actually requires a huge patient population, but also actually the outcome is very difficult to evaluate. But in general, I saw you have the very comprehensive pipeline, like so I understand that you also developed your clinical trial globally. So can you just go into more detail, share with the audience, and what's the global clinical trial strategy? What's the advantage and what's challenge there?
Certainly, in terms for us to facing the global and developing a global portfolio to carry out clinical trials that got market approval in multiple markets is essential for us. And we have been able to leverage our experience running global trials, build infrastructure in the past in our previous jobs or experience. And also in our own team at Harbour, we have been able to build multiple ways to link with our global efforts, either through with partners or CROs, and have been able to expand our presence beyond the Asia Pacific region, but to Europe and to US.
Okay, thanks for that. So we get I think there's an audience wonder, how did you start your company? How did you obtain the funding to initiate the first acquisition?
It's for many historical reasons. So for the Dutch company, wanted to expand into China market, looking for additional funding, and then needed to access the large patient population. And I have expertise in innovative drug discovery and development. So it really is a mutual benefits to looking at how to leverage the technology and to build upon these basis of network of collaboration, but transform into innovative drug discovery and development biotech company. And the US and Europe and China global collaboration is the best thing to do. With the regulatory environment much improved and continue to improve since 2016, peak significant transformation in 2017. So that opened a lot of space. The investment firms has been keen to transform from other sectors to innovative drug discovery development, and a large and mature experienced talent pool in China. So that make it a possibility.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And the next question I received is the asker, your unique transgenic mouse technology platform used to develop your own in-house therapeutics, but also offer this technology to other biotech company and multinational companies. So I think this is kind of like I don't know if that's a fair question to ask you. It's kind of a very challenging question to me. Is there such a model? Do you find that's the conflict of interesting, and how can you make sure the partners who work with you actually get 100% attention? That's what they mean. I think 100% like maximize their value as well.
This is a fair question, but it's very simple. This practice is not we invented; is industry common practice, and we provide the technology to others through technology license. I think for any global biotech company, they do that on a daily basis. And in this setting, we provided the right license of the technology through license to others to use. In this setting, we do not need to be part of their decision which target or how to do it. All we need to do that how many licenses they do, how many programs, where the milestone, and we are not part of actual program, except that their program using our technology. Mm-hmm. So in this setting, there's absolutely no conflict of interest. That is all based on technology. The transfer of technology license usage. Mm-hmm. We do that not just our technology, others. We license technology from others, such as some of the cell line development in biotech work, and many of the companies all do that license from others. So this is a normal industry practice. Mm-hmm. However, we do have other models, which is co-discovery. That co-discovery, that's another standard industry practice. So you share your resource and share your expertise, you co-own the program. Based on your contribution, you have different ratio of rights position, holding the different rights. So that's a standard industry practice as well. In this setting, we decide jointly on which target to start and how we drive it, who doing what. So that's another industry standard. So there's no conflict of interest at all. So if you don't understand this, and really that's very clear that it's nothing fancy. It is what the industry commonly do. And the innovative part is that we have been be able to leverage the core technology we have, but also combine the strengths we have in drug discovery to looking at complementary resources we have from our partner to make sure that we have the best combination out there to generate and maximize the value of the effort we put together jointly.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And the follow-up question actually is, they wanted to have follow-up question with this technology and compare it. I think you already mentioned a little bit about the comparing your technology to the competitors. They want to go detail about the transgenic mice technology platform compared to the competitors in the market. What's the advantage there?
For technology, there's two parts. One is the regular size antibody, we call it H2L2. There are multiple companies with that platform. In a way, it's a commodity. I was involved in some of the BMS acquiring Medarex. So use that to generating large number of portfolio. But many of these technologies, once being internalized by big pharma, is no longer available to others. So there are only a few commercially available technology that you can use. There's no direct comparison data out there, but they all have different way to different technical difference to generating the mice, but the outcome is the same. You have efficient way generating antibodies. In the last several years, we have seen several hundred programs using our technology at different phases of our programs using the technology, or they have 6 of them already in clinical phase. So it's a highly validated out there. Mm-hmm. The other is the HCAb, heavy chain antibodies. So this is even a rare technology. Only very few companies has the product. More importantly, has the IP to be able to operate. So one of them. This technology is not generally available to the general public, usually through collaboration, not through general license. We do not provide license to this. This is strategic resources. We work together to generate portfolio. In terms of the comparison is the maturation or validation. So maturation, how many programs already in clinic, getting towards the late stage or commercial space. The other is do you have a top 10, top 5 pharma utilizing your technology? That's another way of validate your technology. It's a very complex IP situation.
Mm-hmm. I think that's definitely with the already have the track record can prove that technology is already successful. So I will take because of the time, I will take the last question. Actually, I think this friend may be from New York, and he's asking, is the treatment developing or partner with Mount Sinai Hospital will help to save the situation in New York or in?
Oh, thank you. We all know that despite we have the design, has a passion, but just discovery drug development has its own rule. We cannot rush. Our intention is to protect and treat people, and both for the actual patient, but more importantly, is there a way to protect highly risk populations, such as healthcare provider, or nurses, physicians, or social worker. So those are the population we have to take care of. However, we have, no matter what the urgencies need, we have to make sure some of the basic safety information is there. I think the rule number 1 in medicine and also pharma is do no harm. And through this, we have to go through the necessary procedure or steps. And during this present phase, all the regulatory agencies, including FDA, are fairly active, flexible, and working with each team, each company to make sure that have the most efficient way to transition from preclinical to clinical. But it will take a little bit of time from the discovery stages to clinical trials. We have to follow the basic rule to protect subjects.
Understand. I think there's no there's only the treatment, the probably vaccine can really control the situation, but we definitely will looking forward to the next good news from you and your team. Thank you again for joining me today, and thanks Sean to join us today.
Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you, Dr.